Welcome back. Joining me is Charles Shepard III, Executive Director of the Fort Wayne Museum of Art. And he is here to talk about what's going on at the museum. Always good to have you on the show, Charles.
Great to be back. Thank you.
You know, it's been a couple of years, maybe 2-3 years now, since the renovation of the museum and the expansion of the museum. And what kind of difference has that all made to our community?
It's actually been a more major difference than I even projected that it was going to be, starting with the idea that we have all kinds of new spaces for people to meet, whether it be meeting with us or meeting with their own groups or holding a banquet or holding a convention or some kind of other event that we can collaborate with another community group or partner with a corporation with. So that meeting space has made a huge, huge difference in terms of who's in the space and then who comes to look at shows. Plus, in terms of shows, we have 5 galleries in the main changing part of the exhibit hall, where we used to have 2, and we have 3 permanent galleries. We have an outdoor sculpture court, and we have a gallery devoted to nothing but emerging artists across the country. So really, it's more than a 3-ring circus now. Yeah, it is. And one thing that I've appreciated is the fact that there's been, you've opened up the museum to different local groups, namely our university, and I'm sure St. Francis as well, maybe other universities, to show their work every once in a while in a museum setting. So it's really been open to the community to a large extent, and that's really great. Well, and the community has responded in an extremely favorable way. Visitorship, for example, has gone from 90,000 to about 120,000 just in the 24 months we've been open, and it's growing every month. Yeah. Well, you have an interesting exhibit there right now, the Scholastic Art and Writing exhibit, award exhibit. You do that, you've been doing it now for a few years. It's very exciting work of young people from around the region. Tell us a little bit about that. I'm glad you find it exciting because I do too. It's stunning work. Our students are fabulous and have consistently proven that to me over the last 6-7 years. They just get better and better. That means our teachers are good, which is a great sign. I know that. And you know, what we worried about 6-7 years ago when we took the program over was that even though we knew we had talented kids, we had talented teachers, the program was not producing when we compete nationally. We were 48th out of 50 nationally. We are now number 5 in both art and writing on a national level. Our students have gone that high, and generally speaking, in the last few years, just in the last few years. Yeah. 2 in a row, though, number 5 in the nation. Wow, that's really something. You know, we were just talking to T. Ermshire from Fame on the prior segment. It's amazing the talent, the opportunities for young people, just the creative outlet that we have for young people here in Northeast Indiana. I have to hope, I have to think that that's really going to make a difference in their lives in terms of their success, even if they don't become artists or musicians. Just having the creative experience will help them. I think you're absolutely right, and it's important that everybody realizes that we don't pretend that we're graduating 1 billion artists a year. That's not the point. But by getting those kids to match the left brain power with the right brain power, we're making better citizens. We're making people that are going to be employees in the future that can have creative problem-solving skills that'll get them the job that the average thought-provoking person won't have. Yeah. So I think we're really graduating some talented individuals. And you know, you told a story last time or a few times when you were on the show before about how Andy Warhol was a winner of the Scholastic, right? Many famous artists were. He's just the one I happen to remember right now. Bob Redford. Andy Warhol. Robert Redford, yeah. And I think it helps tell talented kids that, you are special. They might not get that recognition in their hometown or maybe in their school. The arts are getting cut back. Here's a way to celebrate that, to say, you are good at something. And indeed, they are. I mean, Robert Redford arguably is good at something. That's a pretty good job. Yes. That's a pretty good job. Yeah. Andy Warhol was so proud of his Scholastic gold key that he wore it to every event on his blazer. Oh my God. As an adult famous artist. Yeah. I mean, I think tremendous. It told him he was good at something. Well, let's talk about some other upcoming exhibits at the museum. Fort Wayne Collects. This is going to be a first of many series. It's opening on March 17th. Tell us a little bit about that. Well, the concept here is to look at what individuals in our region, in Fort Wayne and the immediate communities, what have they collected over time? And there are a couple of things that make this more interesting than the average city. In big towns like Cincinnati and San Francisco and in Cleveland, you had a certain level of factory owners type that collected very predictable things. They sort of followed the book, if you will. Now, in our case, we have people that collect at all income levels, from high to low, and they're much more independent. They're not following anybody's book but their own. They buy the things they like, and so when you get into their home and see what they have, it's far more fascinating. So my thought is, why don't we celebrate that? We're going to celebrate in one show. There's too much stuff.
Right.
There's too many good things. So we thought, let's celebrate it in a show each year for the next 3 or 4 years and bring out a group of collectors into that show and show more of their things.
Right.
And so this first one is still all secret, but I'll tell you what, it's going to blow your mind. It's going to be a wonderful grouping of things.
I bet it's really nice to, if you are a collector, to share that with the community. It's certainly a benefit to our community.
I think they really secretly love this because it's a chance to say, you know, I can't have 1 million people over to my house, but I don't care if they come to the museum and see my things. Yeah,
come see my stuff.
My stuff, that's right. Everybody likes their stuff.
Well, you know, Fort Wayne has such a long tradition of collecting, going way back to the Fort Wayne School of Art, which, you know, was the beginning of the collection of the Fort Wayne Museum of Art.
Yes.
Really, we've been collecting in this community American art, but all kinds of art, but American art in particular for quite a long time.
Yep, over a century.
Yeah.
And so this first one will look at more contemporary collections. I'll give you that hint.
Yeah.
And that's kind of fun. But then we're going to go, the second one, we'll look at historic collections.
Wonderful.
And, we've got some wild things in both shows.
And that's going to be on March 17th.
Yes.
Opening night. It's always the place to be, opening night.
Opening night.
You know, the Museum of Art is also in the process of connecting with other museums of similar stature and collections across the country, building a network. Kind of a new concept, or what are you thinking?
You know, I wish it wasn't a new concept because it's really a very simple one. But the way that our field has emerged, we became bureaucratic very quickly, and our associations with one another were so formal, director to director, so on and so forth. What we're trying to do is break this down, get right down just to the basic human level of things, a grassroots approach, if you will, so that we could look at the collections that people have in their basement, museums, institutions, universities, individuals.
Yeah.
We could talk to galleries directly. We could talk to artists directly. We could work with curators that maybe can moonlight, and writers and speakers that could visit here, and start an exchange between 22 different states and the state of Indiana of our art going their way, their art coming our way, and make this a far livelier art scene by that inclusion.
And it must be good for our own local artists who now can be showing in other states, other regions.
That's what we're hoping for. We're hoping that we will bring the light out from under the bushel, so to speak, for our people. And we've done it a few times, in the pilot phase of this, and it's worked really, really well. And we're hoping also for some camaraderie. We're hoping that artists from different locales, whether they be geographically distinctive or urban versus country, whatever, bring them here, get the students, IPFW, a chance to meet them, other local artists a chance to meet them. They all have things to share. We know this. Yeah. Another thing that's practical about this is we cut out the middleman. We don't we'll go to the point where we won't rent shows anymore. Yeah. We put our own shows together and we do it, trading back and forth. Sounds
like a great idea. You're also going to have some exciting exhibits coming up. One with wood turning, actual wood carving.
Yes, fabulous.
Indiana artists. Tell us about that.
You would think that carving a bowl has got to be the most mundane thing in the world, and I always really assumed that they did carve it. It never dawned on me that it's on a lathe, and I thought that was wonderful until I saw someone do a cowboy hat on a lathe.
Wow.
And you think, well, how in the world does that ever happen? Yeah. And you meet with these woodworkers and get into their shops, and what you find is they work miracles with these lathes and these little chippers that they do. I'm so excited about that art form that we started going around just looking in people's shops. That led to a show. Indiana has some of the strongest wood turners in the country.
I know they do.
So this is going to be a great show.
I've seen some of this stuff. These guys around this neighborhood are pretty good at turning wood, and I think people are going to be amazed when they see this exhibit.
They're phenomenal. At one point in a fellow's studio, he was showing us how thin he could get the bowl, and he puts a light behind the lathe. So he said, when I scrape down till I can see the lights glow, it's thin enough.
Oh my gosh, and that's going to open on April 14th. You also have Lauren Olson, who is an artist from West Lafayette, I believe, here in Indiana, showing some of her work called Challenging the Figure, and that's going to open on April 21st.
Lauren's show is going to be really interesting because it's relating. She's a figurative painter, but she got herself caught up, just consumed, as many of us were, with the effects of the oil spill on our country, on wildlife, but on our people, on our shores, and everything that was going to be giddy in her next series of work became serious. And the figures then became very more introspective. And both dematerializing and materializing with abstract and non-abstract, technologies. It's really interesting work, and it's lit from behind, which is going to be beautiful.
Well, that's going to April 21st. For those, this is a shameless plug for one of my favorite little stores in Fort Wayne. If you're looking for a gift that's something different, unique, maybe you're going to somebody's house, you want to present them with a gift, the museum's gift shop is incredible. Well,
I'm glad you think so. It's getting bigger and better all the time. We have more artists show their work in the gift shop now than ever before. And recently we had a meeting with those artists and some that don't show with us, and asked them what we could do to make it a better experience for you as artists. And to a person around the table, everybody said, the first thing is get rid of the word shop and store.
Okay.
Said, okay, so what do you want to be? Where do you want your work to be? So we want to be in a gallery. So it's been renamed the Paradigm Gallery. That'll be unveiled next month. And in the Paradigm Gallery, you will still have all these wonderful gifts and pieces of artwork. We're looking for high quality at an affordable price point.
And that's true, and that's what it is. And a lot of them are local artists, regional artists as well.
Yes.
So you're supporting the local art scene, getting great stuff that's a one-of-a-kind gift.
And we're also getting those artists on this national network to show at other museum shops.
Yeah.
So we're finding them another avenue for their wholesale work.
Yeah.
Second Tuesdays, the one coming up, for instance, a small painting show, everything under $100.
Wow.
$100 or less.
Okay, I'm
At
there.
least 60 small paintings. They're wonderful. Come on down.
Yeah, indeed. Charles, that's all the time we have for now. You're doing great stuff at the museum, and
Thank
it's
you.
just a wonderful thing to go down there and see what's going on.
Thank you so much.
For more information about the Fort Wayne Museum of Art and how you can visit the museum, go to FWMoA.org or call the museum at 422-6467. Arts Weekly airs every week Tuesday through Thursday on College Access Television and most Sundays on WFWA PBS 39. You can also see us on YouTube and Facebook and follow us on Twitter. I'm Chuck O'Connor. Thanks for tuning in to Arts Weekly. Join me next week with Karen Gibbons-Brown from the Fort Wayne Ballet and Brad Brochamp from the University of St. Francis.